Hi there, this is Brick from How to IELTS, and today we will be reviewing another IELTS speaking test, this time from Iftikhar, who is from Bangladesh. And if you would like your own free IELTS mock style speaking test with myself, you can join my WhatsApp group. The link is in the description to this video. Now, let's get started. My name is Brick. Could you tell me your full name, please?
I'm Iftikhar Ahmed.
Thank you. And what should I call you today?
You can call me Iftikhar.
Okay. So far, he seems quite relaxed, very confident. This part isn't really assessed where you introduce yourself, but it's off to a good start. Let's continue. Iftikhar. Thank you, Iftikhar. So, in this first part of the test, I will ask you questions about yourself. So, do you have any hobbies?
Yes, I do have a lot of hobbies. In my free time, I love playing cricket, and this is one of my hobbies as well. There are so many things others, I do like playing video games in my mobile as well. And these are my hobbies.
Right. Okay. Interesting answer there. But again, he does sound very confident. I think this answer is an okay answer. It's lacking a little bit of structure, though. So, what do we mean by structure? The answer is not really organized. He started off by saying, "I like cricket as well." As well, we usually say this term after we've mentioned one or 2 points. Sorry, more than 1 point. We do not use as well after 1 point. And so that could be a grammatical error there. Other than that, seems okay. Let's continue. Okay. And how often do you spend time on your hobbies?
Uh, Basically, I often a lot of time. Though I think we shouldn't be spending much time on our hobbies, but I do a lot. As I have told that I play a lot of video games. Most of the time I'm on my phone and I play games whenever I have free time.
Right, that was a good answer. And let me tell you why it was a good answer. So first, Iftikhar, he expressed his opinion, and then he extended his answer with one or two additional points. Now that's a sign of a very good answer. Now, when you add one or two additional points, that's what makes your answer from an okay answer to a good answer. So well done. Let's continue. Okay. And is there a hobby you used to have but no longer have?
Uh, yes, there are few hobbies that I used to uh, have, but
Right. And so I did pick up this error before as well. It's a pronunciation error. And that is the word hobbies. So I know with a lot of the Bangladeshi community, they struggle to pronounce the letter I think it's B or it might be F, but here is hobbies, not hobbies. Now, when I say Bangladeshi community, generally speaking, different countries they might have their own errors. So, for example, I know in the South, the Pakistani Indian community, they often get the V's and W's the wrong way around. The Arab community often struggle to pronounce the letter P, and this goes on with different countries. It's usually because they don't have these letters in their own language. But we do need to see if we can rectify these issues. But let's continue.
right now I don't have so many. I don't do so many of them. Like I used to play football as well. But as my friends, my old friends are not right now not with me, so I don't play.
Whole friends. I wouldn't use the term whole friends. I think Iftikhar meant all of my friends. Whole friends, those two words, they don't go together. Yeah, this is just a bit more of a vocabulary thing. Let's continue.
Football, and yes, there are many more.
Okay. And would you like to take up a new hobby in the future?
Uh, if anything interesting I can do next as my hobby, then I would love to do that. Like I'm a person who love learning things or doing things, doing new things actually. So if anything interesting ever comes as an opportunity to do, then I would love to.
Okay. A bit of a vague answer there. Vague meaning that there was no substance to it. He didn't mention exactly what he would like to do in the future. He just said he would like to do a new thing. Now, this question is a perfect opportunity for you to show off your vocabulary and try to use vocabulary that is directly related to the topic. However, it was a bit of a general answer, nothing bad, but it could have been better. Let's continue. Thank you. And do you think that hobbies are important for everyone?
Obviously, I do think that hobbies are very important for everyone because these are the things that always keeps our minds fresh and energetic as well. Uh, because in our day-to-day life, we face a lot of problems, a lot of tough situations, but hobbies are the things that keeps our body and mind both fresh.
Really good answer there. I think that was probably been your best answer so far. I really like the fact, I really liked the way you started off your answer by saying obviously, and you used the correct intonation there as well. This shows a lot of confidence. Well done. I actually like your overall answer altogether. Again, you answered the question and then developed your answer by adding one or two additional points. Well done. Okay. Right, now let's move on to a different topic and let's talk about food. So, what kind of food do you usually eat?
Uh, I do eat a lot of junk foods whenever I go outside.
Right, so this term here, a lot of people make this error. It's called junk food, not junk foods. So, in the English language, there's the category of nouns, and they can be separated into two. So we have countable nouns and uncountable nouns. So countable nouns would be like this table, which you cannot see, but you can say this is a table. There's two tables, three tables, four tables, 45 tables. That makes it plural. But the word food we just use it food for singular and for plural. Okay, so we don't say lots of foods. We just say food. Yeah,
Uh, if anything, I am a foodie. I'm a foodie, and that's
good use of vocab there. I'm a foodie. Um, that's a very natural English response. Well done.
why whenever I see foods that I love, uh, I always love having them.
You sound like me. I too love my food. Okay, let's continue.
So the junk foods that are
Junction is that's okay. And is there a type of food that you don't like?
yes, there. I don't like sweet foods. Uh, the foods that
So again, and the couple of errors that have popped up have become quite frequent. So again, it's food, not foods, and there was a similar error in one of the earlier questions. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something similar with vocabulary. So that's something that we could develop on further, Iftikhar.
taste much sweet, I don't like them much actually because I'm a person who like having spicy foods or sour as well, but I don't like.
So the way we pronounced it is sour food, not sour, and it's sour. And this is important because the word sore in English means something completely different. It means when like a part of your body is hurting. So if your head is hurting because you might have fallen over, when you say you have a sore head, yeah. So sore and sour are two different things. This word that Iptika is trying to pronounce is sour. Sour. So yeah. Let's just focus on pronunciation, Iftikhar.
Sweet foods.
Okay. And do you enjoy cooking?
Uh, I am not a person who always cooks, but whenever I uh, have have the time to cook something, then I try my best.
Right. I know he hasn't finished his answer, but this is an example of another good answer so far. Let me tell you why. So, when I asked him, "Do you enjoy cooking food?" He gave one side of the answer or one side of the argument, and then to extend his answer, he added on points of the opposite side. For example, he said, "I don't often like to cook food. However," and then he introduced another point of the opposite side. Okay, so for example, if this is my phone, I would say I don't really like this phone. It's quite slow. However, it has an amazing camera. So I've added on an extra point. This is a very easy technique that you can use to develop your answers, especially in part one of the IELTS speaking test. So good. I'm liking your responses. Just a couple of grammatical errors and errors without pronunciation. But your confidence is nice. Good.
Sometimes I cook for my family as well, but not this is not a thing that I do often.
Okay. And are there any traditional dishes that you like?
Yes, there are a lot of traditional dishes that I like. In Bangladesh, the traditional foods like pitha. We have pithas a lot, and as this is a month of winter, in winter in Bangladesh, there are a lot of pithas are made. So yes, I love traditional foods.
Okay. And do you like to eat at home or do you prefer to eat outside?
Uh, I prefer both, but I love having food in my house most because I think that's healthy for me, and that's also in taste wise. I love my home foods.
Okay. Mm, okay. That was an okay answer. It could be developed a lot more. I don't want to get into it too much into this video here. But Iktikar, I will explain this to you on WhatsApp. But the structure of that sentence could be improved significantly, actually. Let's continue. Now, in this next part of the test, I'm going to give you a topic, and I would like you to speak about this topic for 2 minutes. But before that, you will have 1 minute to prepare for your talk, and you may take notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I will now share the topic. Okay, so you can make notes, and I will give you 60. Right, so let's read the topic. A memorable trip. Describe a trip you took that you found memorable. You should say where you went, who you went with, what you did during the trip, and explain why this trip was so memorable for you. This is actually one of my favorite questions, actually. I don't know why. I just like talking about trips. Let's see how if the guard did seconds to make notes, okay? Okay, so your 1 minute is now over and you can begin to speak.
Uh, if I particularly talk about a trip that I had recently, and that is actually one of my memorable ones as well, then I would like to talk about the trip that I had maybe a year ago with my friends.
Right. So the first part of that sentence could just be we could just get rid of it. We can just delete it. Really. It's very important that when we speak in a concise way, in a precise way. So what does that mean? It means that we're not using additional filler words that add no value. Okay. So the majority of that first part of that sentence was kind of irrelevant. We don't need it, but let's continue.
That was in Cox's was there. where I live, but actually, it is quite.
So this word here, actually, this is an example of another type of word that is often used as a filler. The word actually holds no weight. If you use it or do not use it, it makes no difference to the sentence. So if you add like two or three of these filler words, it kind of becomes a lot more noticeable. So I would try to avoid all of these filler words. You want to only use the words that add some level of importance. Yeah.
Far from my home as well. Um, the name of the place is Mirinja Valley. Mirinja Valley. There I went with my friends. We were like 10 of our friends going there. This is a place of mountains. In that place, uh, it was a lot of fun with everyone. Because there we went there with a special car called Chadir Gari. Uh, well, we had a lot of fun uh, um, during that during going to that trip. And after going there, we did a lot of things as well, which still is very memorable for me. Like we had BBQ in that particular.
Um, I actually remember this part of the test. So we pronounce it as barbecue. I know it's spelt as BBQ, but we pronounce it in the English language as barbecue.
Um, Mountain. And also there are other things that I have done, like we cooked food for ourselves, and the most special part of the trip was the view before the morning, before the sun rises, because at that time we were in that mountain, and every one of us was enjoying the view of the sun. Sorry, not this view of the clouds. There were a lot of stars in that time was visible. As I do live in a city, we can't most of the time see the stars uh, in perfectly. But
Thank you. Thank you very much. Right. Okay. Let's analyze that a little bit. So, I like the fact that you are willing to speak at length, Iktikar. However, we often lose coherence here. Um, and things start to become a bit messy in your answer. So remember that the question was about a memorable trip. So I want you to think about this and everybody watching. Do you think Iftikhar answered all the questions on the card? Let me know. Let me know in the comments what you think. Um, yeah, and also, yeah, mainly fluency and coherence could be improved. Your intonation is okay. Um, vocabulary, we're at the we could improve that. We'll talk about more about this and towards the end of this video when we give our final score. And we've now come to the end of two. So let's move on to part three, where we will talk about travel and tourism in a bit more detail. So why do people enjoy traveling to new places?
people do love traveling to different places, because most of the peoples love exploring things.
So this is another example. The word people is automatically plural. Person is singular. So when you talk about one individual, we say person. People is more than one person. So we don't say peoples to talk about a number of people. Okay. Yeah. So again, this is an issue with our singular and plural, a grammatical error of
Exploring places, and that's the reason they love going to new places.
Okay. And what are the benefits of tourism for a country?
Benefits of tourism for a country is huge.
Okay, I'm gonna mention one thing. It can be a good thing. It can also be a bad thing. It depends on your level of English. So let me explain what this is. So, when the examiner asks you a question, for example, what do you like to do in your free time? Now, if you don't know how to answer that question, you can just steal words from the examiner. For example, what do you like to do in your free time? You can say, well, I like to do this in my free time. Yep. So I just repeated some of the words from the examiner. That's a good trick or a tactic to use if you are around the band 4, band 5 range. However, if you want to get that band 7 that everyone is after or even higher, it's important to use our own vocabulary and not use words that the examiner has used. So if you notice, if you go back to this video, Iftikhar has done this quite frequently. Um, Nothing to be too concerned of. Remember, this is just a practice session for you to learn from. That's what these feedback sessions are for. But I would like, Iftikhar, if you take my advice on board and try to use or try to repeat the examiner a lot less. Yes.
Because from that aspect, they can earn a lot of money, especially the foreign money, which the visitors brings, um, and from the local peoples, they can also earn a lot as well.
Okay. And are there any negative effects of tourism on local community?
Yes, there are a few negative aspects as well of tourism.
So can you see what this is another example where he repeated some of the words from my question. Um, yeah. So let's try to avoid doing that if we want to get those higher marks.
Like if there is a place where a lot of tourists come and go, then the traffic system of that place really hampers. And there are other
Hampers. It's a good word. I don't know if we've used it in the correct place here. Um, Traffic hampers. I wouldn't say we've used it correctly. Now, one thing that Iftikhar has done well so far, probably up till this point, is that he's used the simple vocabulary fairly well. However, there's been no evidence of those higher order vocabulary and that's being used. This one was an example of that. Hampers. It's a nice word. However, we haven't used it correctly. So my advice to everyone here, do what Iftikhar has done, which is just if you're only comfortable using the simple words, just master those. Yeah, rather than use words that you do not know how to use, because that can go against you if you do that frequently. Let's continue.
things like global warming related things also happens.
Okay. And do you think it is better to travel alone or to travel with your friends and family?
I personally think that traveling with the family or friends are most enjoyable because if I ever go alone, then I would feel bored maybe, or I would be out of ideas. But if I have friends with me or my family with me, then I can do a lot of things with them. We can have fun together. Yes.
Okay. And do you think there are any benefits of traveling alone?
Uh, yes, maybe. I think there are a few. Sorry, actually, I would like to head the question again.
Yep. Do you think there are any? Right. So just a quick point here. I mentioned this in my previous videos as well. What Iftikhar has done here, you can do this, which is that if the examiner asks you a question and you have forgotten that question or you did not understand, you can ask the examiner to repeat that question or maybe even reword. Good. Key benefits of traveling alone.
Uh, yes, there are a few benefits as well of traveling alone. Like if we are exhausted of our daily life, then we can have some me time as well. If we are traveling alone, we can do whatever we want. We don't have to think of others if we are traveling alone.
Okay. And do you think that governments should invest more in tourism?
Yes, I do think, because this is a huge profitable aspect for a country. So government should sorry, actually, I'm out of pure words.
Okay. That's fine. We'll move on to the next question, which is that do you think it is better to travel locally or to an international place?
Uh, I think both are uh, really good. And if I personally talk about on only one thing, then I would say that locally is
So this is an example of what we were talking about before, where you said, I personally think that, and I think something along those lines. He's saying that all those words are irrelevant. You can just go straight to the point and say, traveling locally is a lot better because, and then give your reasons. Um, Yeah. But also, I would try to avoid saying I prefer both. So often the examiner will ask you, do you think this is better or this? Don't say both because your mind can often get confused of what to talk about. Just pick one and talk about that thing in detail.
benefit good for a person. If someone is locally uh, trying to
I think he's slowly running out of words. This is the benefit of these practice sessions, though. They get you into the habits of preparing for the test. I strongly advise everyone who is taking the IELTS speaking test, if you booked it, to definitely book a practice session. If it's not with myself, it can be with anyone, even on your own if you want to. But you should really try to take a couple of practice tests before your main test for reasons like this. But let's continue.
sorry, I'm
Okay,
having problem.
right. Okay, we've come to the end of the test, so we will now stop the recording. Right, so let's use this image on your screen to assess if the car's performance. Now, this on your screen, I will leave a downloadable link in the description of this video, and this is the IELTS speaking band descriptor, or known as the speaking rubric. It's what the examiners use to mark your speaking test. There is a similar one for the writing test. This is for the speaking test, though. So let's look at we'll look at band 5, and then we'll see what you need for a band 5. And if he hits all the criteria for a band 5, we can go up. If not, we can look down. That's how we would normally assess this. So let's start with the band 5 for fluency and coherence. Usually maintains flow of speech, but uses repetition, self-correction, and or slow speech to keep going. Well, he did usually maintain flow of speech. That's fine. He didn't really use a lot of repetition. Not that I noticed. Maybe if I watch it again, I might focus on that in a bit more detail. Nothing there though. To say that he repeated words frequently, self correction, and or slow speech to keep going. Yes, I think there was slow speech to keep going, especially towards the end, where you might have noticed. There wasn't much self correction. So yeah, I think we've got that first bullet point. If we get all three, then we can look at a band 6. But we need the other two first. So bullet point 2, may overuse certain connectives and discourse markers. Yes, so there was evidence of if they can overusing certain connectives. Yeah, so we got that. Then let's look at the third one. Produces simple speech fluently, but more complex communication causes fluency problems. I think that's very accurate when describing if the car is speaking the simple words he managed to say fluently, and when he was extending his answers, I think I mentioned this at the in the middle as well. There were some fluency issues. So yeah, so we've got all three of those. So let's look at a band six. So is willing to speak at length, though may lose coherence at times due to occasional repetition. Right. So he was able to speak at length, or he was willing to in part two. However, in part three, he did stop early on, I think it was two questions. So that would show that he's not willing to speak at length. So you are this close, Iftikhar, from getting that bullet point. Let's look at the second one. Use the range of connectives and discourse markers, but not always appropriately. I didn't see many examples of that. I think if you those two things are very easy to fix for your level of ability, Iftikhar. So I think you do have the potential to get a band six for fluency and coherence. But for now, I'm going to give you a band five. Let's look at lexical resource, which is just a nice way of saying vocabulary. So let's start again at band five. Manages to talk about familiar and unfamiliar topics, but uses vocabulary with limited flexibility. Yeah, I think you used the word in part three, which we mentioned before. Um, so yeah, you can talk about familiar and unfamiliar topic, and there is limited flexibility, not full flexibility, but limited. So yeah, I'm going to give you that. The second bullet point attempts to use paraphrase, but with mixed success. Yeah, so you did attempt to paraphrase. Here it is limited success. That means there's only a little bit of success. Yeah, I agree with that. There was a little bit, not too much evidence of success there when you tried to paraphrase. Um, let's look at a band six. So we had got the first two bullet points. So for a band six, has a wide enough vocabulary to discuss topics at length and meaning clear, and make meaning clear in spite of inappropriacies. And the second bullet point is generally paraphrases successfully. I don't think we got those 2 points. So again, I'm going to give you a five for this. So we've got a five for fluency and coherence, five for lexical resource. Let's look at grammar. So produces basic sentence forms with reasonable accuracy. Yeah, you did do that. Uses a limited range of more complex structures, but these casually contain errors and may cause some comprehension problems. Yeah, I think this again is a bit more of an accurate description of your grammar. Yeah, or your grammatical range and accuracy. So yeah, so far we're on 3 5s. Let's just look at a band six. I don't think we've got this, but let's just look. Uses a mix of simple and complex structures, but with limited flexibility. I didn't see much example of simple structures. It was actually easier to do, really. Second one, may make frequent mistakes with complex structures, though these rarely cause comprehension problems. Yeah, we didn't get that, unfortunately. So far we're on 3 band 5s. Let's look at this final one. Shows all the positive features of a band 4. So that means that we need to look at a band 4 and see if we've got all of those ticked up. Yep. So it shows all of the positive features of a band 4 and some, but not all of the positives of a positive features of a band 6. So band 4, just to save time, I've already read this. So we've definitely got all the band 4 ticked off. Let's look at a band 6. Uses a range of pronunciation features with mixed control. Yes, I think your some parts of your pronunciation were very good. There were a couple of areas that I mentioned earlier that you could improve on. Overall, it was okay. Shows some effective use of features, but this is not sustained. Yes, again, I agree. Can generally be understood throughout, though mispronunciation of individual words or sounds reduces clarity at times. Yes, I think I'm going to give you a band 6 for that. So we've got a 5, 5, a 5, 6. bringing our total score to a band 5.5.